Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 317 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. Yes, this is my voice right now. I've got a code. I'm fighting a code, but I'll be all right. I am here, very happy to join you tonight. We've got a really special show tonight with myself, Pete, and Paul, because we're going to be doing something a little bit different tonight. We're not going to talk about a pick 5. In fact, we're not even talking about a pick 4. We're going to talk about the very good and difficult $3 Tropical Turf Pick 3 at Gulfstream this Saturday. And we're going to do it in a very unique way, as we're going to actually look at our ABC tickets and talk not only about handicapping, but a lot about ticket construction. So thanks for joining us tonight. And then we're going to be going over the Remsen Stakes with our boy Sierra Leone and recap that race, along with many other things. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. After you do that, hit the notification bell so that you know when new content will arise, and smash, and I mean smash, that like button. We'd greatly appreciate. You can follow us, of course, on X at HKravitz, and also email the bottom of the screen, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. You might notice something a bit shocking. It's going to come up right now, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Next week, when's our next live show? No, we're taking a break. You know what? We've been going at it almost 3 years, and I looked at the calendar. I don't think we've really even taken one break in 3 years. Our co-hosts deserve it. Do I deserve it? I don't know. I guess that's for you guys to say, but we're going to take a little break. There's very little going on in the horse racing scene next week. We have our younger guys are flying home from college and whatnot, and our other guys deserve a week off. And so we are going to be off next week. Now, you never know what might pop up. Perhaps there'll be a tape show that'll pop up, or even a live show. You'll have to watch the YouTube channel. But as of right now, we are planning to take next week off. Happy holidays to everyone out there. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Power Picks, look below the video player, because not only do we have fantastic Power Picks, but this month we are offering year-long annual subscription with 1 month free. 1 month free, and also information about the Kentucky Derby and all the horses that are going to be lining up for that race, and updates on horses that are making impressions in the Derby trail. So again, if you're a year-long subscriber, you get a month free of Power Picks, and also every twice a month. So look below the video player. Now is the time to subscribe to the Power Picks tip sheet through Patreon. We've got a great website, hhhracingpodcast.com, and Instagram. Follow us there, instagram.com/hhh racing podcast. All right, we got a lot to get to. Let me bring in at least one of my co-hosts, as the other one looks like there he is. We're all set. Let's bring in first from the East Coast of Maryland, Mr. Pete Visco, and from the Saratoga Special and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Mr. Paul Halloran. Guys, this is my voice. I actually sound good right now compared to where I was earlier in the week. How are we doing?
I didn't even notice the difference. I don't even know what you're talking about. You just
I'm
sound manly and gravelly all the time. You know, it's very impressive usually.
I told my students I'm trying out for a Kermit the Frog audition. I think I got a shot at it at the local theater.
Well, you're playing hurt. We all appreciate that, Howard.
I mean, me and Paul don't like to talk that much, so you might be, we feel sorry for you. Luckily, we could talk the whole time if we needed to.
Well, you might need me to talk a lot more, because I don't think people are going to want to hear this kind of crazy voice. Guys, before we get started, Paul, official announcement made. Saratoga is hosting the Belmont Stakes. Not only that, a 4-day fiesta that for the Belmont this year. I'm assuming they're going to do the same thing next year. It is quite exciting. I know you will be there. I'm not going to be there unless something strange happens. It's going to be crazy expensive. I've got other trips planned. And of course, I have a trip for Saratoga already planned, as you know, Pete and Paul, with our crew for actually this year, the week before the Whitney. But anyway, I know you'll be there, Paul.
I will be there with Belzo. Yeah, I think I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure that the special is going to publish something in in those 4 days. So I would say if the over/under on number of days I will be at the track that weekend is 3.5, you should bet the over.
I think there is a very, very good chance of that. I joked with a few people in our group chat that I think I'm seriously contemplating a trip to Europe. I've never been to Europe, actually, and Davey Lane invited me out there next summer. So I think I'm going to be doing that.
Good.
I have a feeling that trip will be less expensive than the 4 days at Saratoga, though.
Boy, I got to tell you, Howard, I'm booked. I booked about at least 3 months ago. Well, maybe 2 months ago. Whenever when it was apparent it was going to happen, and I'm in Clifton Park, which is about 15 minutes down 87. I'm still plotting to get into Saratoga Springs because I go twice a day, and I'm spoiled. But the rooms they're getting $1,000 a night for rooms as far away as 30 minutes. So
I mean,
there's other stuff going on, I think, too. I think that there might be a concert that it's, you have, there's a college there, Skidmore, that's around the time of year I think they get out. So it's going to be, it's going to be crazy. But yes, I will be there I'll be boots on the ground for the podcast. So that Thursday night, I'll be coming to you live from Saratoga Springs.
Paul, I'm thinking some live coverage on Belmont Day there with you. We'll have a talk about that. Coincidentally, Smoggy Froggy's here, who mentioned that I sound more like him. Smoggy Froggy, very well put. Steven Scott's here. Sierra Leone is an absolute beast. We'll talk about him. The best horse in the race came in second. I tend to agree, but Ralph Conti is here. Like I said yesterday, booking my room soon for the spa. So Ralph will be there. You'll see him there.
All right, Ralph.
For sure. Thomas, when you can get 2 weeks in Europe, however, for 4 nights, I agree, Tom. It's going to be absolutely crazy for sure. Before we talk about the pick 3 guys, I'd be remiss not to wish all of our Jewish brothers and sisters a happy Hanukkah out there, which starts tonight, or as in our family used to jokingly called, Happy Chinook, depending on how you spell it. Either with a CH or an H. Don't ask me why. There's 2 spellings. But anyway, happy Hanukkah to everyone out there. I'm celebrating my Hanukkah with you guys tonight on the podcast. So very excited about that. Sing's got an idea. Stay in Schenectady at the hotels close to Rivers Casino. They are going for between $250 and $300. How far is Schenectady, Paul, from Saratoga?
It's about 30-ish, 35 minutes beyond.
Yeah. People are definitely going to be price shopping. Guys, speaking of price shopping, and I don't want to wait a while longer, so let's get into the Wait a While Stakes, which is one of the 3. There you go. That's called a transition, Pete, in the broadcast business there.
Yeah, it's called a bad transition in the broadcast business, but we won't say that. I said that publicly. I'm sorry. I was just thinking that.
Actually, you know what, Paul? Speaking of not only the wait a while, with my sickness, I feel like I need to call a doctor. Maybe I should call Dr. B.
Dr. B,
who won last week. We're going to talk about. Boy, was that a speed fade? I mean, look, there were some strange results, and congratulations. We'll talk about the Remsen Stakes in the card, but that was absolutely speed favoring highway. Just a damn shame. I hate when it's like that on big days, but. Anyway, Dr. B did win. Congratulations. That was a nice pick for you.
Yeah, it kind of, it works for you. It works against you. I put my play in the morning because I had to go referee that day.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, refereeing that day cost me. I could not believe what the exacta paid in the Sierra Leone race when I saw the result.
What was it, 18-1?
18-1, yeah.
18-1. That is
unbelievable. But Paul, there is something called you can bet on your phone, Paul. Just tell the players timeout. Officials timeout.
I got to go to the review booth. Yeah,
is that legal?
I was literally on the court. So, but boy, I'll tell you, that That was something. Yeah, Dr. B though was great. So I did. You know, you win some, you lose some. I did put in a pretty decent flat bet in the morning on Dr. B. But as far as the pick 5, you know, I try to beat Life Talk, and you know, I used Life Talk defensively, but I wouldn't have used quite as defensively with that type of racetrack had I known it was going to be. You know, Hoist the Gold. I think you know you needed to know that they were going to send with that horse. I don't think it was obvious on paper they were going to send with that horse.
No, we'll get to it. 108 buyer for Hoist
Yeah.
Gold, who now is going to Saudi. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, yeah.
let's move on. Guys, Gulfstream Park. This is very exciting. They've got a $3. I think I actually sent $1, by the way, a few weeks ago, but it's a $3 pick 3. It's what they have at Keeneland, and San Anita's doing this also now. So it's a very popular bet. I love this bet. It's the last 3 turf races at Gulfstream every Saturday and Sunday. I believe that's correct. Now, just to let everyone know at home also, if they switch these races to Tapeta, and the weather looks like it's going to be fine this weekend, but just at any time, if they do switch these races, the bet still goes. So no matter what, it is a $3 pick 3. It's called the Tropical Turf Pick 3. And guys, we're going to handicap relatively quickly here because I really want to focus on ticket instruction. It's something we've talked about a lot in the show. We always mention this ABC that we play, but not everyone gets our Power Picks tip sheet. I don't know why not, but they should. So we're going to show our cavemen, we're also going to show our ABC tickets as well. Do a quick explanation with this particular bet and how people may want to play it. So let's jump right in. It's race 6, 8, and 11 on Saturday. Again, race 6, 8, and 11 at Gulfstream is the $3 Tropical Turf Pick 3 you see on the top of the screen. The race 6 starts at 2:34 Eastern. It's $100,000. Like I said, it's the wait a while. The rails are out 45 feet. I don't think that'll make it more speed favoring because the turf is very lush right now, but it does, shorten the width of the track surface a little bit. But I don't really think it's going to have an effect on the races personally. They're only going 7.5. Again, this is for the 2-year-old fillies. Field of 10. More likely favors the number 7, Ozara, for Clement and Irad. Let me go ahead and bring up our picks on the screen here in just a second. Apologize for the delay. There they are right there. We're all going with the chalk. We're all going with the number 7, Ozara, for Clement and Ortiz. Paul, I'm going to have you go first. What do you like about Ozara?
Well, it appeared as if Dylan might have moved a little early last time. That was pretty much a winning effort. The Natalma was a respectable race. Clement thought enough of this horse to ship up to Canada for a grade 1 and Korea start number 2. And, Christoph is not a guy who is typically a swing for the fences type of guy. So that to me was a big show of confidence. Although I got to tell you, Howard, I handicapped without the odds, as I'm sure you guys did. And, my second pick is the other Clement, and I did not expect the discrepancy to be quite what it was, 8-5 versus 8-1, 5 times lower. But, I think Irad and the fact that was, in a stakes race, a decent stakes race, that was pretty much a winning effort. I landed there. I mean, she'll be a straight A for me. No one I want to bet flat at 8-5, but straight A when we talk about the ABC.
We will. I thought it was pretty solid effort, Pete. I didn't blow me away. Like, she got a perfect trip, but her number is good. And as I told you, Pete, I'm really starting to look at time form a lot more. And guys, I got a little bit of a surprise for everyone. I have some time form PPs I want to show everyone, which we have not done on this show, which, as you notice on the bottom of the screen on the right side, and I can't make that. Actually, I could make that bigger. I'm not sure what it looks like, though. Oh, no, that really doesn't do much for us there. So on the right side of the screen is the pace projector, and they are projecting a fast pace, Pete, with the 2 out in front and the 5 and 8 chasing with the 7 mid pack there. And I'm also going to show what the time form people believe who will win the race as well. And if I go to finish, they believe it's going to finish 7-10-5. I just want to mention that. So we got something new there, guys, that we're going to show a little bit. But anyway, back to the standard PPs. Pete, what do you like about Ozara?
Yeah, pretty much everything Paul said. He mentioned the Natalma. There was 5 winners, and 8 out of 10 out of that finished in the money next out. So it really looked to be a productive race, which I guess is why Ozara was bet. I mean, aside from coming out of a grade 1, was bet down so much. I'm with you. The last race wasn't. I mean, I thought it was a winning move, like Paul said, but then you lose to I think it was a 20 to, I can't remember, like a 20 to 1 shot maybe or something.
Bigger.
Big, was it bigger than that?
I'm sorry, you're right.
About 17. Okay.
That's what I didn't like. I just
yeah, me too. Me too, especially with the trip. The one thing I do like though is I like the move to Irad. Obviously, it's Irad, so obviously you like the move, but I think Irad fits maybe the style of this horse and what I think could be a hot pace up front. Should be able to sit patient and sit right off the leaders. And to me, that was it. I thought the trip was going to work out for this horse. And you see there are definitely some talent. And from a figure standpoint, it's been improving each race. So I think everything just looks logical. Maybe not 8-5 logical, but at least logical on a win end.
Paul, you mentioned Beach Cruiser, who is a New York bred who won nicely. It's the other Clement. I will readily admit I'm not talked. I plan on putting in a little phone call perhaps to the Clements and see what they think about this one. If there is a lot of speed, though, that's not really going to help Beach Cruiser. I will say this is ownership is Reeves Thoroughbred. That is one of the main owners for the Clement. So this horse is well meant. I just think this is a pretty tough spot, but you never know. It's a pretty wide open race.
Yeah, and again, it's the other
Yep.
the other philosophy and at that price. And yeah, I mean, certainly the 7 is clearly better on paper, but as I say, I don't know that 5 times the odds better. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get that 9, right into my mix, mainly because of the price.
Guys, I want to talk about Milliot for a minute, if I may.
Yes,
Milliot is owned by Qatar Racing. They don't mess around. And Jack Sisterson. And you know what? I looked at this horse. I'm like, why do these connections sound familiar in this situation? Guys, last year in the Wait a While, do you remember a horse that I picked at 8-1 who almost won called Malimu? Sound familiar? Well, guess
Vaguely.
what? Malimu was trained by Jack Sisterson at the time and was bought out of the exact same Irish Stallions Phillies 7 furlong kind of race at Dundalk. If you look at Malimu's PPs, you'd see the same thing. Malimu, by the way, in that race got a 69 time form and ended up finishing second in this race last year. I watched the replay. Milliot didn't really do anything special. She sort of tracked in fourth and went on with it. But I don't think there's really anyone special in this race. This horse has already been training down in Florida. I think this one's interesting. I'm curious to see what kind of money Milliot takes also for Saez. Pete, you thought this one was interesting. You got him third.
Yeah, pretty much everything you said. I like the Saez pickup. And again, the time form is always a little funny depending on the track they're coming from. So you can't get too bogged down in that, especially it was only the first start. So you can anything can happen from there. Plus now we're on the turf. And I agree with you. I like that there were a couple works down here, here in the States. Yeah. So but again, there wasn't much. I mean, the horse was 25-1 in a maiden 15-9. So wasn't super highly thought of, but did beat a solid field in terms of 13 horses. So that takes some doing. So who knows? I mean, with the 8-1 price, I don't think you can go wrong.
Pete, you want to quickly talk about this horse? I almost put Great Venezuela like first or second. I really considered it. I'm sure you saw the breeding. I don't know. She hasn't really faced much, but she's talented and has been winning easily.
Yeah, this was, and again, I'm like you guys. I didn't see the odds until about a minute before I came on the pod. I refreshed and saw the odds and saw this one at 8. It's kind of a form play is one thing where the form just looks fantastic. Again, I don't know. We say we don't know what the horse was beating, but the second place finishers, and I think in both last 2 races came back to win next out. So at least there was a little quality there. We're stretching out a bit, but this horse does have speed. Now there is other speed in here, but this one at least has shown the ability to sit off a bit, pass horses. So my play with her was just, hey, she just looks to be in great form, like you're showing on the screen. I thought the breeding looked turf to me, and I also thought the stretch out based on the breeding, the extra 2 furlongs didn't seem like it should bother her too much. So I thought there was a lot to like about this horse, and I was actually surprised at the 8-1. You see the ones and you see the decent ones, you figure that takes money sometimes.
Yeah, I thought so too. I think I don't know if the horse gets the distance. 7.5. So Paul, here's the question as we go on the next race: is 7.5 a route or a sprint?
Route.
Yeah, I mean, it's a route in DRF if you're looking. So
it's a 2 turns.
It's 2 turns. So yeah.
So is the 7 furlong at Charlestown? Is that a route?
Oh God, 7 for what's that? 7 laps?
It's 2 turns.
Yeah, it's a route.
Okay, 7 furlongs at Charlestown's a route
Or a route.
in your opinion. Okay.
Well, I mean, again, it's all semantics, but you're going around 2 turns. I think once you get around the second turn, you're in route land.
I sort of agree with you. All right, guys.
I have that horse as a C, by the way. Great Venezuela. Just FYI.
Oh, well, we're already spoiling our ABC picks. Okay. I think she's interesting, guys. This next race in this sequence, holy cow! This next race is a main special, and wow, this is really difficult. Let me show our picks right here. I'm gonna make sure. Yeah, this is right. Okay, race 8. We are all over the map, guys, and we have 3 different choices on top. I have one strong opinion in this race that I'm gonna share in a minute. I'm not sure my good friend Pete will probably like it because it's a bit negative to his top choice and Paul's second choice. But Paul, are we boring you, Paul? I'm sorry. Are you okay,
no,
Paul?
I'm just I caught you cold. So.
I'm sorry. Okay. I understand that. Let's go to the next race, guys. Now it's the next race in the pick 3. It's a race 8, main special, $70,000, 1 mile on the turf, again for 2-year-olds. These are maidens, and look at this field. It's a field of 12. There's also 4 AEs. Any of those could get in the race in that order with Round Top. The morning line favorite here is the number 2 Air Invasion for Clement and Cheminade, which sort of surprised me a bit. He's a solid jockey. I just didn't think that Clement really rides Cheminade too much. I mean, the Ortiz brothers are down there, so you can take that for what it's worth. I'll be curious to see if he rides more for Clement down at Gulfstream. Let's go with Pete with your pick, because I think this is a horse we really got to talk about. The number 8 Midnight Council for Chad and Irad. Of course, they're going to be out, especially Irad, to win the training title. I don't think Chad's going to win the training title down at Gulfstream. He just doesn't have enough dirt horses in general. But Irad, obviously a major jockey player down there. What does he like about the 8?
Well, a few things. I thought, so the first, obviously you see in the debut on the screen there, was bet down to basically even money and ran mostly like a dog. I mean, was basically didn't load well, was bumped out of the gate, was basically off the screen for most of the race. So you're watching it going, okay, this is an even money shot. They're not even on the screen here. Ran on late. Again, you just sort of like to see sometimes if a horse has a lot of things go wrong, you like to see them at least finish with a little bit of luster, so it doesn't look like they just stopped and the jockey didn't give up, basically. Then you switch to Ortiz. Not the greatest race in the world, but at least improved in a lot of ways. The pace was pretty slow, was sitting off it a bit. You could see in the notes, jostled a little early. I think it was an okay race coming out of the debut. They had put blinkers on for the first time. So there was a lot going on. I wasn't sure how much the horse got out of the first race, aside from trouble. Then the second one was just sort of even. Now we're cutting back a little bit to the mile. We're getting Irad again, and the horse has just been working really well since that last race. So, I mean, again, the times aren't fast on the workouts, but just has been working solid compared to the others on the work tab. It's a $300,000 horse out of Omaha Beach, big time connections, Irad. I just think there's a little bit to like here. And again, this is a wide open race to me. So I'll take Irad in a race where I don't love a lot of the other horses.
I don't love a lot of horses in this race, at least from what they've done so far. The horses that have ran to me are very meh. Pete, I got to tell you, this horse can win. I just don't like him at all. He's done. I don't think he's done much running at all in the 2 starts. When Chad doesn't win in the first 2 starts, I always start getting a little bit concerned. Like the same way I feel about Pletcher on the dirt guys. Like these well-meant horses, when they don't win fairly quickly, I start getting the heebie-jeebies, and I don't think this horse done any running. Like that last race, just I don't know. I mean, again, he can win, Pete. I totally understand it. He's probably going to put me in the locker, and you're probably going to be right. I don't know, Paul. This horse does nothing for me. I'm much more interested in taking some fresh faces. I don't know if those fresh faces can run, but that's how I'm going to gamble my money in this race.
Yeah, I think, and again, handicapping without the odds. I did have this horse second. I don't think the horse will even be 7-2. I think, a Chad and Irad,
Yeah.
even coming off that, okay effort, the 6-5 at Monmouth in the opener, as you guys talked about. Yeah, I think I agree with the first thing you said, Howard, when we switched to this race, that it's a wide open race. And, in a $3 base sequence, races like this cause problems.
they do.
They cause fiscal, financial difficulties.
Aaron Vason, Paul. I'm sure we all watched the replay. I'm assuming you did. What were your thoughts? He went off at sort of a tepid, almost 7-1. He ran fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. The stretch out might work, although the dam doesn't. The dam is more of a sprinty. I know he's out of your boy, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't. The 2 and 8 just don't do a lot for me in this race. They just don't.
Yeah, well, I actually think that might be a good sign.
Okay.
I just think the horse was late getting involved last time, and made an okay run. I think the comment's fair, right? Mild kick. He was definitely moving forward. Um,
The 8 right here, about 6 back, getting a very good trip. No excuses there.
it didn't take didn't take all that much money. Almost 7-1. I believe he is on the switch to the middle. So I mean, yeah, he's he's moving, but he's certainly made up no ground on the top 2. So um the Typhoon Fury came back to run third out of that race.
Paul, can I interrupt you a second?
Yes,
I'm
you
going
may.
to anyway. You know how much I like watching gallop outs, and maybe I look at it too much. I would have really
You
liked
do.
to see this. I would have really liked to see this 8 like up here. Gallop out
Mm.
past the wire. Never really went past these horses. Again, maybe I'm overthinking it, but it's something I look at. I just want to point out to the viewers. That's all.
Yeah, no, and I got to tell you, and I do have the horse on top, and I have him as an A. But in all honesty, once I saw the odds, and I knew this horse would be among the favorites, but this really isn't the type of race where you want a favorite that you feel just okay about at low odds, because this is the type of race that could blow it up. So
I
this is
agree.
where when we talk about ABCs, I have a couple of C's here, and I certainly will hope to get by the first leg with an A, and probably be rooting for my C's here.
Guys, I don't know about some of these firsters, but I will say that I'm interested in a few of them, and we're not gonna be able to see the odds or the doubles, which is really tricky, guys, obviously. But I'm a little bit interested in the 6 Wartime Recess, who you guys don't have anywhere. It's a bit of a guess, I'll admit. Suge is better than you think, guys. First of all, I didn't mention Air Invasion is a half to Big Invasion, a horse that I love.
Yeah.
I think we all like Big Invasion. So the horse is meant to be good. But if you are a fan of Big Invasion, that's a sprinter. So I just want to, and this is 2 turns, just want to bring that up. Shug McGahee, better than you guys think. Last 5 years, first time starter in a turf route or route. 14%, not bad. 35% in the money. So actually, his stats are better than you think. This is a horse by my boy Warfront out of Doro, Mare Sabbatical. Sabbatical was a pretty nice turf horse you guys see. Now, maybe this horse wants longer because Sabbatical was like a 1.5 mile kind of horse. So I have no idea, guys. I just think this horse has been working fine. It's Saez. Shug has done this before. The horse has been training for a while. I don't know. By the way, one of the sibs is Dreams of Tomorrow. This is a horse that you guys might know, or especially you, Paul. He's ran on the East Coast and did it pretty well. Won $368,000. Tour of Duty was also a decent turf horse. I don't know. I think there's definitely some breeding here. We'll just have to see. And again, we're not going to see the odds, Pete, so it's a bit of a guess. But of the fresh faces, this is the one that I'm interested in most on paper.
Yeah, I wanted to like this horse, and I have the horse when we get to our grids. I have this horse as a C. There was actually a couple Shug stats that scared me off a bit. So not speaking to you, had a good one on him. I had Shug 0 for 17 with first time starters on turf at Gulfstream specifically in the past 4 years. And then for some reason, the Shug Phipps combo 0 for 12 wins, 1 for 12 in the money with 2-year-olds on turf. Those two stats sort of, because I didn't know what to do with this horse. I was with you. The works didn't blow you away, but I like the breeding. I like Saez. So I was like, I'm going to put this horse on the ticket somewhere, but it depended upon whether it was an ABC, and I wound up landing on a C mostly because sort of those stats. I was nitpicking with just a bunch of different horses that I liked.
I could look at the stats with the ownership, Pete. That's part of the
yeah. You can do you can look with the owner specific. I don't even know why I did. I think just because it was Phipps, and I always liked Phipps, and I don't usually do the owners, but I did it just for the hell of it, and I was like, oh crap, that's not so good because not even hitting the board. The 1 for 12 in the money was a little shaky, and again, I don't know what that means necessarily. It's just maybe that's not what they do for some reason.
No, it's a good stat. Real quick, few other ones. Carnival Dancer cost $200,000. Walsh 10% first out, 34% in the money. Again with the same stat. Not great, not horrible.
I have the 1 in third, and I didn't see the odds, and the 1 is sitting at 30.
31.
That was purely a from the rail speed. In the debut, just went a little too hot. And lost to Paul's horse, St. James the Great, right, Paul? That's you, right? That was
absolutely.
Yeah. So, but again, that was at 1 1/8 miles in debut, going 1 1/8 miles, cutting those kind of fractions.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, maybe the cut back to the mile from the rail. And then when I saw the 30 just now, I was like, I'm glad I have the horse on the ticket because why the hell not? What if, like you were talking, Paul, if we can get the blow up leg here, I'll take it with a horse on the front end.
Use that horse. Yeah. With Junior on him.
With Junior too. I like the driver change as well.
Yes. He set the pace. Yes. Yeah. St. James the Great ran huge in that race, I'd like to humbly say.
Absolutely. Stephen Scott said, don't sleep on the 13. I agree. If the 13 gets in, the 13 could be live round top for motion. And then the 4 real quick, Paul, just a Houghton, maybe a pace play, but the 1 looks like it's going to be sent. Ran okay first time out. This is just a wide open race, Paul.
Yeah, I was a big fan of this horse's dam. Catherine the Wise, if you check her running lines, her first few stats, she was just unbelievable. She was a sprinter for Chad. She won, starting her career, won by 5.5, won by 12, won by 8.5, ran a 90 her second career race, and then was off for 1.5 years, unfortunately, and was never really the same horse. But she was really fast.
Do we know who Catherine was? She was wise. We know that.
I just assumed it was named after my daughter, who spells it the same way, but maybe not.
Well, the apple doesn't far too far.
She certainly has always thought she's wiser than me.
Well, don't all the kids feel that way. Let's go to race 11, guys. We're going to talk about this race. Then we'll show our ABCs, and then we'll get into the Remsen a little bit. So we'll go pretty quick here. There's our picks on the bottom of the screen for race 11. Again, race 11.
Nice call, Howard. Look at those 3.
Yes. Yes, we are skipping around. Race 11 ends the $3 pick 3. This is the Pulpit Stakes. Again, it's 7.5 furlongs. Again, it's for 2-year-olds. Again, it's on the turf. $100,000 purse. Pretty big field. The Moorline favors a horse we are all familiar with, the number 8, Noted, for Pletcher and Irad. And only one of us is going with Noted, and that is Pete. Paul, let's go with your top choice first and my top choice the second choice at bag number 5, which I think Pete doesn't have anywhere. So I'm very curious to see what Pete has to say about or why he doesn't like Palm Tree for Brendan Walsh and Louis Saez. Paul?
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to go with the old draw a line through the last race, and that might be a cop out, but I don't know. I just think it's too bad to be true. I mean, the horse was on the rail. It was a good race. Ironically, noted ran second, and I do have noted, but I definitely like this horse more. Brendan Walsh is well, he's always hot. He's a tremendous trainer. Yeah, I mean, I thought, the horse ran very well at Kentucky Downs, and I don't really have an explanation for the last one, but put in a bullet work last weekend at Palm Meadow, and I just think this horse is ready to go, and I'm just hoping that last race was the anomaly.
Mr. Halloran, I know why he didn't run well. Mr. Halloran, actually, he ran okay. He got into trouble late, Paul.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Let's take a look at it.
Yeah,
let's take a look at it.
Yeah, he did late is correct. Yes.
Yeah, so noted is the 5, who's going to be the favorite here. Palm Tree is the 1. Let's just go right to the stretch. Watch what happens to the 5 here. So the 5 is, sorry, the 1. Palm Tree is right here. Here's noted the 5. I don't think Palm Tree was going to win the race, Paul, but at a crucial time, this wall of horses really gets in his way. He's right about here. He is right here. He's moving forward, and then,
yeah.
He really had to stop badly, and it makes it look a lot worse than it is. Now, I think we both agreed that I'll watch it one more time. He was not winning this race, Paul. But, the 7th by 2, I would say he could have easily finished, 3rd by half a length. Watch it again right here. I mean, right there, just completely stopped. I mean, so... Again, because
that's fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point. He was moving, and it just seemed like every time, everywhere Declan Cannon turned, there was an obstacle. He was close to the rail when you started that replay, Howard, but yet there was a horse inside of him. Then he came out. It looked like he wanted to maybe go far out, and then there's the 12 horse outside of him. So that's fair. So, I think, it's not unusual in a turf race for a horse to run 7th and miss by less than 3 lengths, right?
Right.
It happens all the time.
I like the gelding, Paul, and I think the distance is the major reason I like this horse. I don't think this horse wants to go this far. He's by Street Boss. Street Bosses are sprinters in general. I think the distance is going to be great. He's been working well. At 58 breezing. I know Palm Meadows is a fast turf course, but there's a lot of things I like about this horse. I don't think he's any cinch or anything. Of course, what's wrong with Godolphin, right, Paul? I got to like the Godolphin boys. Pete, you've got the 8. I totally get it. Noted is definitely the horse to beat. He's really good. He's run a bunch of races that could easily win this race. Probably one good trip away from beating our 5, to be very honest.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I just thought this was the class of the race, and even the 1-2 back was just sort of rolling and just got run down by Can Group. And then they said, you know what, the heck with it, let's try the juvenile, and that obviously went terribly. But now I think, like anything, we see sometimes horses do something that they probably shouldn't be doing, then you get them back to doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I think this one, if you just look at the turf starts, everything is an improvement for the most part. So I think it's just very logical, and you have Irad up again. So not a ton to say there, and it's 9-5 for a reason.
Either one of you guys want to talk about the 2 before we talk about ticket construction and Liam's journey?
I thought, I like this horse a little bit, but this is one I was a little leery of, because you get a 3rd in a graded stakes race and it maybe looks a little better. But I did like that there was the recent work was pretty strong. The figures have improved each race from time form and buyer. It ran well going 2 turns, but didn't do a ton, but also lost to quality horses. And they both, they came back against 2 horses that ran in the juvenile turf. Picks up Johnny V, I thought would be able to sit sort of mid pack and maybe close. So I think it's a quality horse who could definitely win the race, but it didn't he just didn't jump out at me as somebody I just loved one way or the other. He just looks a little even to me.
The 3 and the 8 both came out of the Brews Cup Jewel and ran pretty well. I wasn't sure about the distance with this
Me
horse,
too.
but
Yeah.
again, it is 7.5. I think sort of like Palm Tree, the short distance will help the 2. I don't think the 2 is completely out of this race.
I think I made a mistake, by the way, with Palm Tree. I think I would probably have Palm Tree on my ticket,
Okay.
listening to you guys and looking at it again. I didn't love the last race, even though I think I saw what you saw late, but I didn't love up until that point. So that's what sort of swayed me a little bit. But also it was a first time gelding, which we didn't mention. So maybe that, that could sometimes move a horse forward. You never know.
You never know. Pete made a mistake. Pete, you never make mistakes.
I mean,
it's
every
funny.
once in a while.
I won't say you never make mistakes. You never admit to mistakes.
I never
I'm
admit
just
to them.
kidding.
Yeah, well, every once in a while everything happens even Haley's comet comes once every 80 years or whatever. So
Fair
everything
enough.
can happen.
So, guys, we've talked. Obviously, usually we show our cavemen. We are going to show our cavemen. We're also going to talk about ticket instruction, guys, because it's very important. We all generally, or I don't know if we all play ABCs all the time, but we definitely like the ABC ticket instruction. And Pete, I was going to go to our website. I don't want to do that. On our website, we have information about the ABC ticket instruction. Also, if you go to our YouTube channel, which of course most of you are on right now, if you're watching at home, under our betting strategies section, there is an ABC video that I put out actually within the first 3 or 4 months of this podcast even starting. I probably need to update that, but there is video available for that into our betting strategy section, also on on our website. So
Right on the Power Picks page. So when you go subscribe to the Power Picks later, right after this show, then you could check out the ABC video as well.
So here's what I'm gonna do, and I think this is actually gonna work nicely here because I'm gonna bring up both guys. So there you go, right, Pete? We're gonna sort of compare. Okay, so
Yeah.
and Pete, I'm gonna let you do most of the talking here. Remember this on the bottom of the screen, everyone, is a $3 increment that we're saying. So this is a $3 base bet, 5, 6, 7, 10 with 1, 2, 8, 12 with 2, 8. It's a $96 straight ticket. But then, of course, if you look at the screen, I think people can see that well enough, right? Pete, is that big enough?
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
Maybe
Yeah.
There we go. People can see the ABC ticket, which is only $12 more. But as you can see, Pete, you're using 6 horses in the second race and 4 horses in the third race if you are correct about 5, 7 in the first leg of race 6. So why don't you explain a little bit the differences between your 2 tickets here and why it might be beneficial to play an ABC?
Yeah, and I think you said it perfectly there so we're spending 96 on the caveman. So if you look at the caveman, the 5, 6, 7, and 10, which includes an 8 to 5 shot, you're sort of using those at an even amount of equity you're putting in on the 5, 6, 7, 10. Whereas if you look at the caveman, you're maybe cutting that back to your top 2 choices. And the one difference that Howard mentioned is in the caveman, I have 10 horses for $96. In the ABC grid, I have 14 horses for only $12 extra. Now, again, you have to hit in the correct sequence close. You have to be right with maybe your A's. And I guess, Howard, I don't know if I assume people understand, but so if you're playing an ABC, you're playing all A's, you're playing A's with one. Do you want to do that?
Well, you made a little mistake in what you sent because it says 5 A's is only 3 races. So I don't know if you want to clarify that, Pete.
Did I say 5 A's?
Well, on the screen there, you said 5 A's, 4A, 1B, but there's only 3 races.
Oh, you know what? I didn't
it's
change.
2
Yeah.
and 1.
Sorry.
1
yes.
You want to clarify? You know what it is with 3 races, but
yeah, I didn't change the header there. Yeah.
Above the chart. Why don't you clarify that, Pete? So people
Yeah,
understand.
apologies, everyone. This is our normal grid that we use for the Power Picks, and I didn't change the little header there. So basically, if you looked at this, you would have 3 A's there. So basically, the first number is if I play all my A horses. So in this case, it costs $12 for my 5 A horses there. Then you would have 2 A's and 1 B. In this circumstance. So it would be, for anyone who's a little unclear, it would be just 2 of my A lines have to win and 1 of my B lines, and it doesn't matter which ones there. Then basically the third leg is 1A
and 2 B's.
2 B's. So it's different than that. But again, you basically just need one of your A squares to hit and then two of your B squares to hit.
Right.
And then finally it's two A's and one C. So then the theory is the C's, obviously you're not including as much money and you're not including as much equity in the C's. So generally you put those are usually saved for, hey, I like this really, really long shot. I think they have an outside chance. I don't want to spend a ton of money on them, but I want to at least throw them in just in case. You put those on the C line. So again, the whole premise is you're getting more horses. Now you have to be right in your A line generally to at least hit. You have to be right on a couple of A's or at least one A to hit the ticket from a grid standpoint.
Yeah, you basically cannot have a B and a C, everyone, to make it very simple.
No B and no C.
Yep. You can't have a B and a C. Robbie Courtney, by the way, shout out to Robbie. Power picks are very beneficial in helping clear the clutter. Helped me greatly in qualifying for the NHC last Saturday. Appreciate the wisdom, Howard, Paul, and Pete. Robbie, we are so happy for you, man. And congratulations getting the NHC. And Paul and I will be out there. Pete, is that still a goal of yours? I mean, I know you talked about last year about trying to get into more tournaments. Are you actively going to try to get in the NHC? You still got some time.
I got a little bit of time. I don't know if I'll make the NHC or not. I mean, It depends, but I would probably shoot more for BC next year first. But, you never know. We see how the days go. Christmas, you get, Christmas vacation, you get a little antsy during the day. So who knows what tournaments you jump in.
True. All right, Paul, let's go to your, I didn't really want to show I didn't really want to do that. Hold on a second. I didn't want to do that. Okay, Paul, let me show your ABC as, where the heck is, there it is. Okay, now I can go on screen with there you go. So Paul, let me make it bigger. Paul, your caveman is 7'9" with 2.468 with 2.358, excuse me. And now everyone can see your ABC. So I think people understand. You see Paul has on the bottom of the screen has everything as it would be in a 3-race sequence with a 2A, 1B, 1A, 2B, etc. And Paul, what we didn't really mention is if you have DRF ticket maker, if you have a DRF bets platform with your ADW, you can bet directly through DRF. If not, DRF ticket maker itself is free. I mean, people could go on there and just, print out their tickets and then do it manually. So you don't have to have a DRF bets ADW subscription to do it. You could do it by hand, unless of course it's a CDI track. Anyway, Paul, let's talk about your ABC construction.
Yeah, I think the reason why I think these sequences are good, and our good friend Jim Goodman should get a royalty every time a track adds one of these things.
Mm-hmm.
He started the idea. Frankly, with a $3 bet base, even only 3 races, it does force you to sharpen your pencil a little bit, which I think you should then take that and carry it over to the pick 4s and pick 5s. I'll speak only for myself, but I think most of us use too many horses in those sequences who really, it'd be a real long shot if they win, and we would love to get that 30-1 C home, but that's going to happen once a year.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, right. So in this case, and the other thing is, with a $3 base, you should get paid. Now, if it's chalk, don't you're not retiring, but you look at the race, like that second race in the sequence we talked about, and that's why I said that I'd love to get an A home in the first leg and be alive to 4. But if this were pick 50-cent, pick 5, I would probably in that second leg, I'd probably have 2 A's, 2 B's, and 3 C's. I might have 7, right? So I do think it's a good bet also, Howard, for that reason. It forces you to, to focus a little sharper. If you want to keep it within reasonable budget. I think you can make a case in this type of sequence for playing, not necessarily playing the 2 B's, saying, if I'm going to hit the thing, I need 2 of my A's to win. So that's another way to potentially trim it down a little bit. So, but it is a good bet. You said, Howard, if it goes to Peter, the bet still goes. In my case, it goes until I hit the cancel button, in which case it doesn't freaking go anymore. I
Why
can
did
tell
I?
you that.
Why did I have a feeling you were going to say that?
Yeah.
One of Matt Bernier's best scores of 2023 was a $3 pick three score for 5 digits
Keeneland, right?
at Keeneland. Yeah. To
Yeah.
me, guys, it's the kind of bet where I'm more willing to toss out some big favorites or horse that we bet, like the Chad that we mentioned, Pete, the 8 in the second leg, because of the $3 increment. It's even that much more of a jump, I think, if you beat favorites than the 50 cent or dollar increment. So, and it's a pick threes. I mean, who wants to go chalk anyway, right? So I think
Yeah.
it's the kind of bet where it's sort of fun to take a chance. Here's my pick three. At the bottom of the screen is my Caveman, and here is my Tropical Turf ABC pick three.
Hey,
Caveman's
Howard.
5.
I'm sorry. No, you go ahead first. And I was going to ask you a question after that, but go ahead.
Okay. Caveman is 5, 6, 7, 10 with 2, 5, 6, 10 with 5, 8 for $96. But you can see my ABC there. And I put the race 6, 8, and 11 on the right side because I wanted the ABC column literally be the ABC of the bet. That's why I did it that way. And as you see, I've got a lot of C's. So to me, I have a chance, if I'm right about the 7 in the first leg or the 5 in the last leg, I really have a chance to use a lot of seahorses that would be bigger prices and can win. And as I mentioned, guys, the 8, the Chad Brown to leg 2, I only have as a C. And so I'm trying to, there's really no reason, in my opinion, to put your A line with all lower price horses. So I'm taking some shots. Obviously, I need the 7 I need the 7 and the 5 to win to be alive to, of course, this column, this cell that I'm in right now. So I try to mix it up a little bit. This is $108. I think people can understand what we're doing here. But the reason why I can play, again, my ABC guy, my Caveman is 4 by 4 by 2. But my ABC is 5 by 8 by 6. So there's an example, of course, that I can use a lot more horses in an ABC, but I do have to be right about my A's. It's just another way of looking at it, guys. I think it's food for thought for people out there who might be interested in that kind of bet. Go ahead, Pete. You wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, and because I was looking at yours on the screen, and your 3As are only $6, which is nice. So I guess my question for you guys, and this actually just leads into for the viewers who are part of what you do with an ABC is you could play, you kind of go shorter with your all A's, so you can play your A's with a higher denomination. So if we're talking a 50-cent pick 5, maybe you play it for $1, maybe you play it for 2, maybe you play it for 3, and then you play 50 cents all along the way. Same thing here. Like Howard could play his A's for, $18. He could play it 3 times for 18. So my question was, in a $3 pick 3, are you apt to sort of up the denomination of your A's still, or do you save that for more of like a 50-cent bet? Or do you do it just depending on the circumstance?
To me, it's circumstantial, Pete. If I have a relatively smaller ticket, I'm willing to press up. It also depends on how big my A's are. Now, this is only $6, so I am more apt to press up with my A's because it is cheaper. But if the all A's were, 48, I probably wouldn't do it.
Sure.
So it's a combination.
But the idea is to try and keep the A's a little lower so you can do that, though, right? I mean, in theory.
Yes and no. I mean, it really depends on the sequence. I mean, sometimes it's nice to have 4 or 5 A's, right? But that's going to cost you a lot more money. So I don't know how Paul feels about that. To me, it's very situational. Paul, quick thought on that, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, I think in general you should press up your A's regardless of the ticket, because if you're that right, you want to get paid, and especially if it doesn't pay 5 digits, pays $400 or $500. So having that twice is better than having it once. That's a math example for our students tonight.
There you go.
And this is why we generally look for, in most sequences, you look for at least one single, because it allows on the A line, because it allows your A's to be a little bit cheaper.
Guys, we're going to talk about 15 minutes. Hey, that's good. We're about 55. 15 minutes will be perfect. About the Remsen. Now, look, obviously, it's hard to be completely unbiased for all of us because we all have a nice bet with Sierra Leone. By the way, shout out, I don't know if you guys heard, shout out to Pierre Thomas Fornatal and In the Money, who are on their show. They put out, actually mentioned me in the podcast, or us in the podcast, with the bet on Sierra Leone. And JK mentioned he would never make that bet, not because he doesn't like the horse, but he doesn't want to put the jinx on his buddy Chad Brown. But anyway, Sierra Leone, I thought, was very good. So my first question before I bring up the replay, just general thoughts on Sierra Leone in the Remsen, Pete.
I mean, I thought when you, and we'll talk about it when you show the replay, but when you have a horse who was that far back, my wife was watching with me and she doesn't know much. And she's like, why is your horse so far off the screen right there? And I said, yeah, it's not great, especially because speed is winning. But then once he made the move, I said, oh, he's coming. I said, because he's a closer. Don't worry about it. He's coming. But just closing into that pace and the move that he made was impressive, especially the way the rest of the day went. So, and we did get sort of, we always look at the buyers and we say, oh, well, he got this and they got this, but you almost have to look at him when they got it. So his debut buyer was better than every other horse in the field. Then he makes the jump. I think did he get the 91 as well? I assume same as Dornoch. So they got 91. So he made that jump in only his second race, and he was doing it against the speed bias that was clear on that day. So I just think what he did was super impressive. Now, again, if you're talking all the way out to the Derby, you don't want to be off the screen in the Derby. You're probably not going to make up that much ground, but there's a hell of a lot of time between now and then to sort of tighten some of those things up.
Paul, general quick snapshot thoughts.
I didn't see the race live. As I said, I was refereeing. I love Dornoch. I think anyone who bet Sierra Leone to win in that race, that's a really tough beat, because if you could have bet that race at the 8th pole, you would have bet $1 million on Sierra Leone. But you have to take into account the two key factors, Howard, are ground loss and track condition. And I have no issue whatsoever with, Jose. I think Jose did exactly what he needed to do. He needed to make his move when he made it. I don't know if he hung a little bit. First of all, Dornoch, we talked about on the show. Danny Gaga was talking about him as maybe the best horse he's ever trained, and he trained Taxed and Tax. But on this track, on this day, right now, you were saying, and I don't care that they still got a long way to go. Right now, you're saying this horse is not going to be involved. That's about, I would say, about 9 lengths, maybe.
Yep.
But again, horses were not closing at all. I screwed myself in the second race by playing a speed horse second in the exacta and just went all the way at 13-1, won by like 8. But right here, Jose is really, obviously going wide is going to be the only option with 8 horses in front of him. But even here, Howard, he's got to go a little wider still right there, till that horse in front, the 5 did go down a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, right now, would you like to bet the race right now?
What were the odds right now on him winning? I mean, 3 to 5?
God,
1 to 20. Yeah. 1 to 1 million.
Yeah, it just, and again, I don't know. I know it was a speed track. I don't know if I will tell you this, Howard, if you watch the head on, I don't know if it mattered, but Jose had a little brother Irad in him there. He got him like right next to him. Maybe didn't need to get him quite that close.
Have you guys seen the head on, by the way?
I have.
Pete, have you seen the head on?
I watched it on that day. Yeah. It's
interesting. So here's the question. I put this on the thumbnail. Did he lug in, or did Dornoch fight back? I think that's a big question. So let's talk about that. Both can be true. Here is Sierra Leone way out here. Yeah. Here is Dornoch. Now, my question for you guys is, let me go full screen. Sorry. My question is, did he lug in, or did Jose Ortiz purposely come to the inside to bring him closer to the horse, and also because he knew the paths were better in there? Paul, what was your opinion on that? I've not heard.
I saw still photos, Howard, right at him before. And by the way, we should mention Dornoch ran off the rail there, by the way. So
a little bit, bumped in the rail a little bit, just brushed.
Credit to Dornoch. But my thing is, I don't know. I know one thing: when you're the horse coming that closing, you don't need to see the other horse. He did look like he lugged a little there. Now Jose's going to go back to the left-handed whip. Uh, he makes it very tight for Dornoch right there, right just before the wire. Hey, look, they're 2-year-olds. That's a really good effort. That's no matter. I have no idea what's going to happen between now and the first Saturday of May, other than you're not going to get near the horse live, Howard. Other than that, uh,
It looks
that's
like
the
to
only.
me he's lugging on his own. Like I don't see Jose with his right hand like trying to bring him over, Pete. This
No, and
looks
he's
like the horse doing it on his own.
No,
to
but
me.
he didn't do anything. It didn't seem like either to prevent him from doing it. In an ideal world, I think he just stays in the outside path and runs straight and he wins the race is the way I would look at it. But again, I know that wasn't the best place to be, but the way he was rolling by,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that would have mattered in all honesty. I think if he just stays there, because like obviously if you're cutting inside like that, I assume it takes a little bit of sting off your
Yeah.
run. I mean, straight line's always better than going crooked. So
This is the 8th pole right here, right, Paul? Right where I'm pointing at here. That's the 8th pole, I'm pretty sure. Right here, right? This is,
keep it running. I'm not so sure. Keep it running.
okay.
I'm not
Well,
sure
it's going
about
to go
that.
out of the screen. It's right here. I think it is. Maybe it's the 16th. Well, either way, here's my point. My point is that right about here, Pete and Paul, let me freeze it at a spot. I've watched this a lot. Right here is where he
Apparently.
has almost about a length. He almost got a length on him. I think this last right so he's got about a half length right here. It's like a 3/4. This action coming up right there, that one, I think he really lost his momentum. And again, I don't think this is Jose trying to get, like his brother and try to really intimidate. I think the horse was coming in on his own and he had to he couldn't whip him anymore. And he had to make sure, what would have been really fascinating, guys, is if Sierra Leone had won, there would have been an inquiry, right? What would have happened, guys? That would have been fascinating, right? We never know, but
I mean, you
that would
never
have been
know
interesting.
with those stewards, but I mean, I don't think there was nothing there that was of
You don't think
consequence.
so?
But
Okay.
no, not of. I mean, again, but I never put anything past
All right.
the Naira stewards. But yeah, I think in the end, right? It really doesn't matter. He ran a good race, and there's work to do. He was a little green, a little bit. You could tell he just didn't. Had a little bit of quirks going on there. Dornoch
Yeah.
fought back very gamely. They both came. I mean, Dornoch came home better. If you're looking on the screen there, just a touch.
Yeah.
And they're both impressive horses who I think are going to be heard from. And again, we never know how they're going to mature in the next however couple months before they run again. Some of
Right.
them go from this, they come back and they don't improve and they just sort of stagnate. And some of them come back after those couple months and really mature. And I guess you just don't really know until we see them back.
Dornoch did run a final better 8th by 300ths of a second, but the final quarter was by far Sierra Leone.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
drumroll please did close also, but Sierra Leone by far closed the best. We got a lot of comments in the chat, guys. Then I'm going to end the show with the ultimate question that we want to answer. First of all, Jim Pilars, early out for my teaching gig. Jim Pilars, by the way, is volunteering. So God bless you, Jim, for teaching volunteer job. I just got home in time for Remsen. Perfect timing. Mike Carmoli's here. Sierra Leone was very good. Vale Place. Yes, you fellows. First I saw on Racing Internet to point Sierra Leone. Let me see here. Matt Miller mentions how many horses look like potential Derby contenders after 2 starts. I mean, it's a good point, right? Got to be thrilled with where we are on this right now. I couldn't agree anymore. Speed of the horse says first time starters usually have a good workout pattern of a spread of 8 days, 8 days, 8 days. That must be a previous comment. Oh, this is a new person. Clancy, I believe. Clancy Martis. Clancy, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but if I am, great. If I'm not, I apologize. Likes the number 6 at Gulfstream Park. Thanks for joining the show. Appreciate it. Guys, here's the big question. Let's go full screen. Did Dornoch come fight back and win, or did Sierra Leone cause his own trouble and lose? If you had to say one of the two, Paul.
I'm going to give Dornoch the credit. I think that's for a 2-year-old to make that move, getting past and then coming back on the inside. I'd like to see what the sheet number is because that takes into account ground loss,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that our guy is going to do pretty well when that when that is factored in. But I got to tell you what, I'm thrilled with having this horse, and hats off to you, Howard. I mean, all you need to know is would he close at 34-1?
I'm sorry. I'm taking my hat
34
off.
to he was 34-1 in the final pool, the last pool.
36. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely look. Who knows if it's going to work out in the long run, but I'd say it's worked out so far. Pete, Dornoch won the race, or Sierra Leone lost. If you had to say one of those two.
Oh, can I cop out and say I think both actually happened
I
because
do.
I thought Sierra Leone lost the race first, but Dornoch had to come back to win it. So I think Sierra Leone opened the door, but Dornoch had to show the fight to actually take advantage of it. So that's sort of a cop out, but that's what I think happened because he could have just gave up. Once you're past, a lot of horses just pack it in. He did not, and so he looks like quality as well.
I like Dornoch as a horse. This is not a poo-poo on Dornoch, but guys, we've seen a zillion races in our horse racing handicapping career. When you have a horse that takes almost a 1-length lead with that momentum, Sierra Leone to me lost this race more than Dornoch won it. He just got goofy, and I heard I saw some things on Twitter and some emails like, "Oh, this horse is goofy. He's not going to develop." That was a really bad sign. Guys, I think Nick Tamro said it best a minute after the race on X. That might be the last time Sierra Leone ever loses to Dornoch if they go head to head. This was Sierra Leone's second lifetime start, guys. For a second lifetime start, and Dornoch already had 4, I was super impressed. I mean, really impressed. And I'll leave with this comment, Paul. I'll just say I'm going to go on a limb right now. I have no idea what's going to happen with Sierra Leone going forward. This horse is more talented than Tapit Trice. And I feel very confident saying that because what Sierra Leone did in his first start, Tapit Trice couldn't do in his 5th, 6th, or 7th start because Tapit Trice is slow out of the gate and is sort of big and bulky and wasn't really athletic enough to get in and out of spots. Sierra Leone has showed me, Paul, a lot more already than Tapit Trice has. No disrespect to Todd and Tapit Trice. That's my opinion.
And I don't think, Pete mentioned it. I don't think Sierra Leone is going to be the horse coming from 20th in the Kentucky Derby, should he be lucky enough to get in. The gun runners develop later. Gun runner was obviously better as a 4-year-old than a 3-year-old. So, but for that horse, for a gun runner to run that well in the second start, I think the better question, Howard, is instead of who lost it and who won it, is if you could only have one of them going forward, which one do you want?
Well, do we have a future ticket on Dornoch?
Well, I'm just saying, not for us, not the 3 idiots on the screen. I mean, the normal people who aren't going to be emotionally wrapped up in this for the next 7 months.
Well, Paul, too, I guess is the question just for the Derby or in general, too, because the Derby, and I didn't mean that necessarily for you to answer, but the Derby is, a little bit of tactical ability helps in the Derby, and Dornoch obviously is a little more tactical. So again, if Sierra Leone comes back and in the prep races is in the back again and is trying to close from too far, then you get a little concerned because you just don't want to do that. And Dornoch, he can obviously be close up. I don't think he's a need to lead necessarily. He could sit off a little bit. So just something to think about because, again, the Derby is its own animal. The rest of the races are normal. The Derby is a shit show like we know.
Dornoch, by the way, every quarter in that race was slower and slower. In other words, his first quarter was his fastest quarter, and then every quarter after that was actually slower than the one before. I don't like that. I do like Dornoch, though, as a horse. I think they're both going to be good. Chad's sending Sierra Leone down to Florida and Payson. He mentioned he's going to mess around a little with the equipment guys, which is fine. I mean, look, the horse is not a finished product, Paul, but he doesn't have to be. He's basically, like an 11-year-old running around there just having fun. He doesn't know exactly what he's doing right now, and he just ran a 91 Beyer in his second start with a 20-point jump. I think the sky's the limit for this horse. I'd like to see him more tactical. I'd like to see him more professional. I think he's going to have more of a mage kind of running style, guys, like mid-pack kind of thing or forte. I think that's going to be his style. I don't want him coming from the clouds, Paul, in these races. But in our closed circuit watch party that we had, we talked about that. I think he's going to be further back. There's a lot of speed signed on in the Remsen, and it was only his second time start. So what happened to me on Saturday does not surprise me. But I agree, Pete. I don't think we're going to be seeing that going forward, where he's going to launch from the back of the pack.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you don't. Again, if you're shooting for the Derby, you just don't want that.
No, you definitely don't want
and Chad knows that. Sorry, Paul.
No, I was going to say, I think if we could get, in fact, we should get him on, Howard. We should get Chad on sometime over the next few months to talk about this horse.
I think you have a sold ever, right?
I got a funny feeling that this is the horse Chad's going to. I think he's in Florida because this is the horse Chad wants to be around every day. Chad wants to win the Derby.
But he has all those Derby wins. Oh no, I forgot. He doesn't have
this is a big factor to me too. Paul, talk.
Yeah, well, so does a hippopotamus at the Universal.
Yeah, the camel races they get out of the gate better than Tapper.
Paul, people that are listening, why don't you just read what Smoggy Froggy says at the bottom of the screen? It's a good point.
Well, he certainly gets out of the gate better than Tapper Trice. Yeah.
But almost every horse does.
Yeah.
And some animals that are not horses get better out of the gate than Tapper Trice.
Tapper Trice was a great value, and this is better value right now. It doesn't mean we're going to win. You know, that's what these bets are for. You bet a little to win a lot, and that's the number you want to have. But I would. Well, I hope to be down there at some point. You're going to be down there at some point this winter. I would. If you could get the truth serum into Chad, I got a feeling he likes this horse a lot.
I got a feeling you're right. And he has not won the Derby yet, guys, but he knows how to get Triple Crown horses ready. It's been a lot of fun. And you know what, guys? We've done so well. No homework next week. I'm going to give you guys, we're going to all take the week off. No, in all seriousness, I looked at our calendar. Yeah. Nothing happened.
And nothing happened. When you want it to happen, nothing happens.
Well, I literally don't think we've purposely taken a week off, maybe since the inception of this show. I've been going literally 3 years. We've been going, a year and a half straight, pretty much. I mean, sometimes we've been out of town and other people have subbed in, but there's really not much going on in the horse racing world. There's a race at Los Al. I think it's the Los Al Futurity, which is actually an okay race, but that's the only graded stake. And you know what? We've got people traveling and there's not much going on. And we've got some exciting races happening over the holidays, guys. The Malibu day, the opening day of Santa Anita, the day after Christmas, is always one of my favorite cards of the year. And then a few days later, I'm going to be in Florida, guys. So we're going to talk because Pete, I need you to host that week. We'll talk. We're going to have Brian Nadeau, guys, who committed to come on the show for us already. So we're going to have Brian Nadeau from Gulfstream on to talk about that real nice card that's happening over New Year's Day weekend. So we got a lot going on, guys. Take next week off. It's been a lot of fun. Really appreciate it, guys. And well, I'm not gonna say happy holidays because we got time, but I will say happy Hanukkah again to anyone who celebrates Hanukkah.
Absolutely.
Out there. And great job, Sierra Leone and Chad Brown. Let's keep that going. For my wonderful co-hosts, Pete Visco and Paul Halloran. They are exhausted. They get a well-deserved week off. Power Picks will be available. Don't worry, anyone that subscribes to Power Picks, I will be sending those out next week, despite no videos, but you never know, there might be a video. For them and myself, Howard Kravitz, been episode 317 of the HHH Racing Podcast. Good luck, everyone, and crush your bets on the $3 Tropical Turf Pick 3 this Saturday at Gulfstream. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in a little over a week and a half. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.